What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Coach Prunty Podcast. We back in here. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. You know how I go. Well, today I have a story for y'all. A story that should teach you that no matter how high you climb the ladder, right? You cannot protect your children from themselves. Guys, this story is about a white gentleman who chose to hang with the Pookie and Ray Rays in the end, even though he was rich. So anyway, this is how it goes. We'll say the guy's name is James, okay? James' father is like a doctor or a surgeon, something in that lane, all right? And he lives in one of the best neighborhoods in my city. And this is me growing up. Well, through the grapevine, a lot of guys that I hang with, we always were trying to search for the best basketball courts. You know what I mean? Because we used to play basketball on these little trash basketball courts. It wasn't that nice. So what we would try to do was find rich guys that had the nice, luxurious basketball courts in their backyard. And we were the ones that were good at basketball, so they thought it was cool to play with us. So we would go over there, and usually it only lasted like 6 months until the rich daddies was like, hey, what are them black dudes doing in the backyard? But we just always be searching. So we come to find this guy named James, and it was like paradise. I mean, it was great. We would go there and play all day pretty much, and he would play with us. And he was a fun guy. He lived in the basement. I couldn't have picked a better situation for us, because all we wanted to do was hoop, and he just wanted some friends. So it was the perfect contrast. Well, it got to the point where I started to notice that more and more people started to realize that this court existed. Okay, so a lot of the guys that joined in on us playing basketball at this court were good guys. Now, I'm not saying everybody was good. And there was some women that started to come down there. So it kind of became like a real nice hangout spot. Well, at a certain point, I started to realize that James didn't play basketball with us anymore. He started hanging out with some of the guys in the house. So I'm like, whatever, I didn't want to get into it, but it was just weird because you were inviting us over to play basketball, but you and the guys that you with are in the house. It was very weird. I didn't know what to think of it. I didn't know what to make of it. I was like, okay, thank you for inviting us over. We were eating your food and playing and using your basketball goals, so no complaints here. Well, one day I show up at the court and people are telling us that James is in jail for attempted deletion. Okay, I'm like, what the heck? So come to find out, what James does is the guys that started to leak into our hangout group were some certified thugs. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they were, from the inner city, I would say, and we're not gonna get into, the details, but they were the Pookies and Ray Rays. Well, what they had done was told him about a plot to, we'll say, take some drugs from an old man forcibly, okay? And they talked to him about this plot, and James is like, I want to be involved. So what James does is says, he wants to do it, he wants to be involved with it, and they like, cool. I mean, if you want to be involved with it, essentially they were like, yeah, let's get it. So James apparently took weapons from his dad's stash, and his dad is like a surgeon or a doctor or something like that, takes weapons from his dad's stash and arms the Tyrones and Pookies. And I'm talking about high-powered guns. We're talking about white guns, okay? Those guns that they use just over the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just laser beams, this and that. You can just imagine, okay? So he arms them to the teeth, and what he does is he says, okay, now we need a vehicle. So let's just say his dad, because I want to give complete details. Let's just say his dad drives, what's the craziest vehicle? A lime green Kia Soul. Let's say a lime green Kia Soul. So his dad drives a lime green Kia Soul, and James is like, we can use this to do the robbery. Oh my gosh. So in my mind, once we get this part of the story, I'm like, oh my God, like this is not gonna look well. But apparently the Tyrons and Pookies are like, hey, let's do it. So the lime green Kia Soul, they take it, and we'll just fast forward to the incident. They take it, they're armed to the teeth. I'm talking about, they look like Russia invading Ukraine right now. Okay, they armed to the teeth, weapons like you wouldn't believe. They show up to the guy's house, and what they tell him to do is knock on the door and tell him something that I'm just a little white. They're like, they're masked up, and they're like, tell him that you're looking for your parents, or make up some crazy excuse. And James is like, all right, I got it. So what he does is he tells them, go around the building and hide, and I'm gonna knock on the door and tell them, I ran out of gas and I need to use your phone. So he knocks on the door. A guy shows up at the door in a wheelchair. Okay, this guy's in a wheelchair. So the man in the wheelchair sees him. It's a little white kid, doesn't think anything of it. And the kid says, hey, I ran out of gas. I need to use your phone. As soon as the old man reaches for his gun, James shoots him. Okay. The sad part is, from point blank range, he misses. Okay. So it's kind of a situation where he might have grazed him, but he pretty much misses. The old man's wife slides, gets injured from what I hear, and it's just straight chaos. So all the people that were around the corner come rushing in, boom, 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 come rushing in. And what the old man does is the craziest thing you'll ever hear. When they rush in the house, right, they storm upstairs, of course, trying to take the items that they wanted to take. And what the old man does is pulls out a weapon from a holster from the wheelchair and starts popping off. All of them run for the hills, try to escape. All right, it's like the Battle of Stalingrad. It is ridiculous. He just using a regular pistol, okay, regular weapon against all these high power weapons. He's just popping off and screaming and saying, get out. Runs them off, and they're all gone. One of the guys, he was hit, so he's like, injured. And what James decides to do, which ends up getting him caught, is he on the way of them getting away, in the lime green Kia Soul, he starts to make a YouTube video rapping with them in the car right after the situation. Okay. The police run the records. Well, let's just get to this. So after he makes the music video, whatever, posts it online like an idiot, he gets home and they're like, yo, what we gonna do with all this? We're in trouble. So they try to basically hide. It doesn't work. And ultimately, the weapons that they use to do the robbery, they come up registered in the name of James's father. Okay. So James's father takes heat for this. Like, cops are like, hey, did you do this? And then he ultimately admits that his son did it. And pretty much his son goes to jail for a lot of years. Okay. All the Pookies and Ray Rays pretty much went to jail. It was just ridiculous. But the thing is, the old man ends up being a hero in my community. I mean, they're like, oh my God, he defended his wife. He, popped them thugs. Them thugs didn't have a chance, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, did James even go along with this? Okay. He was already rich. There was nothing for him to gain to do this. And that's what I learned from this story at the time was you know, you got to be careful trying to fit in, right? He had everything in the world, had all the money in the world, could have went to any university he wanted, but instead he choose the life of the Pookie and Ray Ray. For what? Just to have friends? So guys, I hope that story really puts in perspective that a lot of times you are your worst enemy, man. The path can be laid out for you, but if you don't take the path, the easy path, then you might as well be, even if you're rich, even if you're born in a rich family, you might as well just be born as a Pookie and Ray Ray as well. All right. So anyway, guys, we're going to get up out of here, man. This is the Coach Prunty Podcast, and I'm out. Peace.